The massive bull signal that we've been waiting for is starting to flash as we speak. Meanwhile, there's some people saying Bitcoin's crashing on a $300 or $400 or $500 pullback. Everything's getting set up right now. We need to make sure that we are locked in, locked and loaded, because this market is about to absolutely melt faces. The question is, are you going to be strapped in? Are you going to be on the right side of this trade, or are you going to be left in the dust like so many that are focused on price rather than all the data? Because Bitcoin and altcoins are about to change some lives. So with that being said, everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell. Let's dive in because we got some massive signals to cover. Let's talk about it right now. Let's go. Sit back. The Bitcoin bull signal that we've been waiting on is here right now, and that is what's going on with on-chain data that's signaling smart money, dumb money, silly money, structured money, strategy money. What are they doing? Is there money moving? Is crypto moving out of exchanges into long-term holding wallets, aka indicating bullish strength? Or is there a lot of Bitcoin still moving on-chain? Are miners selling? Is it really just a fake out? What are we looking at? Because when we look at the charts right now, diving into this, we see incredible bullish structure. We see a massive bull flag from this drawdown that we saw, the breakdown from about $109,000 all the way down here to $74,000, which set up with the bullish divergence. If we look at this along with the RSI and the money flow, we see that the RSI had higher lows here while the price action had lower lows, signaling that bounce to the upside. And this has just built an incredible structure up that now is becoming frustrating to some that's not being patient. However, we have this large mega pump gateway, which I've been sharing with you guys for about a month and a half, 2 months. I think actually even a little bit longer than that. I shared this when the price was over here. And why did I outline this? Because when we have the price action flush up into the zone and then break down, that sets a clear boundary for that basically move into price discovery. And beyond just the price action, back here, we saw the price action push up and reject off of this again. And now we've got a couple levels, one being $109,000, the next one being up here at about $112,000. But this is also supported by other data within the charts, and that is this data right here. The liquidation heat map showing that there's a huge amount of liquidity. The hottest on this chart, looking at the 1 month chart, this is that barrier to entry for the next stage of the absolute rippage to the upside. Everybody's getting so confounded and confused. What should I do right here? Well, currently we see price action is ranging. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's just not happening. That's mostly because a lot of people are mostly in alts, but I still think alts are going to get their day in the sun. But we can see this is now, over 36 days. If we just measure here, if we come all the way back to here, 46 days, the price action on Bitcoin has been ranging sideways. Currently, this bounced beautifully at $98,000. And we talked about this up here. If this moved down below $100,000, I talked about a very quick recovery back up, a V shape, which we're seeing in play right now, basically bear trapping people before we move back to the upside. So how's everybody doing? How you feeling? I think we got a lot higher to go. And I think we just need to take a little bit more time to let the markets play out. I got Nakamoto on my chest right now because Satoshi is in all of us. So we see the Bitcoin price currently over $107,000 still, and yet people are saying it's crashing. What the hell are you talking about? Are you looking at a 22-second chart? Because when we look at this, even on the 3-minute, yes, this is a pullback. This is not a crash. This is not a crash. This is under 1%. Volatility in this market goes so far beyond this. Now, if we're looking at the S&P 500 and we saw a 1% drawdown in the matter of 30 minutes or a couple hours, that's a pretty big pullback for how large that market is. But for Bitcoin, this is just another few minutes in a chart. This is nothing, especially considering the price action pulled back and found support at this level currently. If it loses this, again, it's not over. Let's zoom out a little bit on the chart and realize this has been a massive move. We saw the money flow, money coming out of the market, now coming flip back positive. Now it's just chopping around. RSI is getting a little high, but what did it do? I talked about this the trend line here on RSI, if this was able to push up and break through this, we would likely also be signaling, the strength of this pump. And what we get, we got the move up. The RSI broke out. Look, right here is where the RSI broke out. Strength came in. And then what we see, the price action moved all the way up inside here. Now, the problem with this is everybody sees this and thinks the bottom is in on this move and it's only going up from here. I don't BS you guys. I share with you the data that we're seeing. And although I am hyper bullish on where the price action is going, and when we zoom out on this and we realize that there's so much higher to go in this market, looking at areas all the way up here into the 150, come on, damn it, 155, 158,000, all the way up here to 204, all the way up probably above 200. We have to let the market play out before we get there. And what we're seeing right now is structure that is still aligned beautifully in this range. So this is very important. What we're seeing on Bitcoin's price is a massive move to the downside that was controlled and a falling wedge. Signaled that we are going to get a bullish breakout out of this to the upside, with not only coming to the near conclusion of this falling wedge, but also the bullish divergence, signaling strength was coming in. The flippening here of money flow being negative, now flipping positive, furthering this idea or supporting the notion that this was going to have strength come in and push to the upside. What we get? We got the push to the upside. Now we have the price action consolidating when what I believe is an accumulation before that next move up. So although I'm overwhelmingly bullish about where this is going to go in the coming weeks and the coming months, if we zoom down onto the 4 hour or the 1 hour, it doesn't mean that this is completely, the bull narrative is over if you get a little bit of a pullback or drawdown. So what we're seeing right in here, coming into this zone, if we get a little bit of a drawdown, that's fine. If we, come down as much as 50% of this move, it still will be overwhelmingly bullish, still being in context with the bull structure. Rise, retrace, continuation. Again, I'm not saying it's going to come here. I'm just saying don't lose your mind because you're macro bullish, but you're locked into confusing yourself on a 4 hour, 1 hour, or 15-minute chart because you're going to see drawdowns along the way. I see Pre-Rich right here. He says, every time I hit that like button, do everyone before coming to chat. Yeah, everybody hit that like button. Show some love. We got about 1,200 people in the room. Shout out to each and every one of you. But I'm very bullish on what we're seeing right now because even across the market, again, the days and the weeks are going back and forth from a lot of green to a lot of red. Yesterday, almost everything was green. Now we're getting a little bit of a pullback. Now, why would that be? Is the bullish move over because we're seeing a little bit of a pullback? No, we have to understand bull structures in any asset class consist of rise, retrace, continuation. The retrace is when most people lose their minds. And that's what we're seeing here with all this red on the chart. A lot of red. Now, Pi's up. Cool. I mean, I don't care about Pi. Syrup's up 10%. Bitcoin Cash, woo, yeah, up 6%. Say, which has been on a massive run, which we're going to break down here in just a second. But what we're seeing here is nothing that's like, it's not like it's the end of the world because we're seeing some pullbacks on the smaller time frames. If we are macro bullish about where this market is set to go from here to the upside, which I'm going to outline here in just a few minutes, then we should be overwhelmingly bullish on the opportunity that the market provides if you do get a pullback. If you're macro bullish and in the smaller time frames, you're seeing a pullback, that means it's a great opportunity to take advantage of. Getting some limit orders filled, lowering your average entries on some of the different assets you have that you feel like are still very macro bullish, but you're seeing a very near-term drawdown. That's opportunity, baby. So when we understand that, makes it a lot easier. We're also seeing that Bitcoin and crypto as a whole still holding up here, $3.31 trillion. We got nothing to worry about right now. Let the market play out. We're coming into the end of the month, and I do believe that going into July and going into the end of the summer, we are going to see some absolute bullish explosions to the upside. So let's stay stacked. Now, how many of you out there are stacked into SEI to say? Because that has gone on an absolute tear. And not only that, it's created a beautiful bullish reversal pattern on the chart, which we'll highlight here in just a moment. But we're seeing some major things in terms of what some of the reasoning could be behind that. because Say has been doing well, but why? What's going on? Everyone saw the pump, but most people don't know what the reason is. Say doubled in a week, but the real move was behind the scenes. Circle, remember that IPO we just saw? 6.25 million tokens, Say. We're going to show you that here in a second. Wyoming, they're doing a stablecoin pilot. ETFs already filed. TVL, new all-time high for total value locked. Users, 8.1 million and growing. Trump team, holding bags of Say. Political bags confirmed. Here, ignore at your choice. Because what we're seeing is the hottest thing in the market right now is the Circle IPO. And check this out. Congratulations on the incredibly successful IPO of one of the biggest investors in Say. Circle, the company that has the hottest ticket on the stock market since their launch only a couple days ago, is one of the biggest investors in Say. So these things have direct impact, which hit a market cap already of $59 billion. This is Circle, not Say. Today on the heels of Senate approval of the Genius Act. So we're seeing some of the right players, some of the right things within their ecosystem have major and tremendous impact as to the outlook of what's going to be happening and Say in coming into the rest of this cycle. So big shout out to all you people that are holding Say. Now, this is a pattern I was just talking about with Bitcoin. We have a descending channel. It's also kind of, shaped like a bull flag, large flagpole. If we come out here to, like, for instance, the 3-day, you see it a lot clearer. You just see large flagpole and then this choppy flag portion here. If you want to ignore the flagpole, you can do that too and say, well, it's not a flagpole. It's just a descending channel. Either one of these patterns, both signal breakout to the upside is the more likely on a statistical basis, the more likely, especially when you consider the trend that you're in. Well, what trend is Bitcoin in? Well, I'm looking at this. Bitcoin looks like it's going up and to the right with rise, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation up into a holding pattern before breaking through the mega pump gateway, which I think very soon is going to start taking us up to those higher targets all the way up here, up into the 150s. The low, this would be like the lower side of where I think this market's going in this cycle, potentially over 200 and, still likely up into the above 200s, 240s. But safely speaking, I am looking at these levels here, which I have pinned in the top of my chart right here. These levels here from about 158 all the way up to about 365. Now, this feels asinine right now, and I'm not saying it's super likely to happen. That's why the likely target zone is down here. And in fact, I've outlined this with you all before. I think it's most likely, most probable that we'll get somewhere in this 140 to 180 range, somewhere right in here on the low side of this likely target. It is still very possible, but becomes less likely depending on how some of the buying structures come in from governments, from states, from corporate treasuries, how all these things come in, and what their buying schedules are going to look like. We still have a pretty good likelihood of getting up here above $200,000. Now, we don't know all of this, so we got to focus on what's happening here so we don't mess this up and just completely terminate our ability to see massive profits between here and these potential top zones. The top zones don't particularly matter. You need to have a strategy on entry and your ability to navigate your emotions so you do not get chopped out of this, so you miss out on whatever the top is going to be. So when we consider that and we realize, let's get out of the Say, this is what we're looking at. Let's keep it simple. In the nearest term, what we're looking at, the pattern that we're watching is this descending channel, and it's just bouncing on these just like this. Now, I'm guessing there's going to be a little bit more work to be done, much like Trader Tardigrade here has outlined, where you kind of push up into this resistance channel, which is right at about $109,000. Having a small rejection, a little bit of work to be done, as you see here, and then the breakout. But we're yet to see. We have to see how this plays out. But this seems very likely to me, unless we get another black swan or something that happens that really shakes the confidence in the market. But we got some incredible on-chain signals that is screaming bullishness in terms of the midterm to macro picture for Bitcoin and crypto. Now, continuing on, what else we got? Okay, the altcoins that you've all been holding, The others to Bitcoin chart finally had a green candle after 6 consecutive down only candles. Macro uncertainty is now gone. Macro uncertainty. It doesn't mean you can't have chop in the interim, which is good for alts. Now, I don't think that this is fully locked in. I don't think macro uncertainty is necessarily gone. The picture is starting to get painted that risk is likely to start entering back into the market. So we're on the cusp of macro uncertainty really being gone. But when you see something like this on a chart, and for those of you that don't know what this chart paints the picture of how your altcoins, everything outside of the top 10 of all crypto. Eliminate the top 10 market cap coins, and this is them charted against Bitcoin. When you see this dropping like this means your Bitcoin has been doing better than those alts you're holding. But what I like to see, what we all want to do if we're looking for entries or if we're trading, or if we're just even not actively moving in the market, but we're trying to navigate our emotions so we don't jack up a portfolio that we already have, is you see this dropping. Okay, well, what do you see on the RSI down here? It's very flat, basically giving us a bullish divergence. This is getting into a zone that's looking like it may be setting up for a reversal. Again, I'm saying may. We have to see how this plays out because Bitcoin has been the star of the show this entire cycle because of all the institutional just the monopoly Bitcoin has on that corporate and corporate money coming in. Beyond the other aspects that also have things like Bitcoin proxies, like different Bitcoin treasury stocks that are scooping up a lot of capital. In addition to that, we just had the Circle IPO. So a lot of money that could have really, benefited into the digital asset ecosystem in our crypto portfolios is being somewhat diversified and divided across a hell of a lot more layer 1 and layer 2 altcoins, but also the massive meme coin market that siphoned off the degen plays, but then the smart money that would have really moved the market in years past, like in the ICO craze back in 2017, 2018, but then also the DeFi summer. That's big money players. Retail had impact too, but the smart money, as people have matured in this market, they're seeing Bitcoin be the star of the show. And they're seeing risk mitigated ways to get exposure to it that could also see a bit of larger gain probability, like for instance, something like Metaplanet or MicroStrategy. And thus it's taking some of the liquidity focus out of those altcoins you're holding. But this is showing us potentially we're coming into an area that this may be reversing, at least for a small period of time. So let's see how this plays out. Shout out to Ted Pillows. Make sure you're giving him a follow. Always great content coming out of him. But then we also got this. Are we anywhere? Oh, I got to sneeze. Hold on 1 second. A sneeze is beguiling my nose. Okay. Now, one of the things I've been discussing on this channel here with all of you, keeping you on the right side of the trend, is that the cycle that we're in right now has had a lot of similarities with what we've seen back here in 2015, 2016, into 2017, this massive parabolic rip to the upside. What we're watching here is a pi cycle top and bottom indicator, and also the oscillation here on this indicator showing the price as it is within these zones. And if you see this right here, this move up and then this consolidative sort of sideways move, very similar to what we're seeing in this current cycle this year, 2024 into this year, 2025. And that is large move up. And then basically look at this, just following in the channel here between these two moving averages until you get basically a breakout, retest, launch. Well, we got a breakout on this cycle too. We have not yet once broken this moving average, this upper moving average. If I had to guess, I would not think that we're going to end this cycle without this at least once breaking through this moving indicator, this moving average here. I think we still have at least one major leg up, if not something that is somewhat persistent like we've seen like this. I think we will still get some form of a parabola, even with the big money at play, because the race to stack Bitcoin is on, and we're seeing just exponentially more and more and more institutions, corporations, and big money people get involved, not to mention the millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and billions of retail participants that are going to be coming in as well. We are going to see a massive move to the upside. It's just a matter of, will you be here when it happens? Because this is nice, but what other data suggests that we are still going to get that move? Isn't it kind of bearish at $107,000? Well, not according to this. Price is over $108,000, $107,000, and long-term holder supply has been increasing, similar to the days before the price run up from $60K to $106,000. So this was nearly an 80% move to the upside, 80 to 90% move to the upside. And we're seeing something very similar right here as we did on that previous move back here all the way up to what we saw there. So AKA, what are we looking at? What are all these colors? Essentially, we're looking at different wallet sizes, different addresses that are holding Bitcoin, and long-term holders versus short-term holders. In this case, the gray, the longer-term holders, and also the large amount of Bitcoin holders. We're seeing an increase in the smartest players at not only right here before this large move, but also what we're seeing right here at $107,000. Long-term holders, which are known to buy and hold, do not tend to add at market cycle tops. As you can see right here, this is a rollover, a reduction in their supply going into a top. We're seeing an increase, AKA a springboard for at least the intention or expectation by the smart money players that the Bitcoin price is going to continue going a decent amount, if not substantially higher from where we're at right now. So we're seeing on-chain data looking at the different types of players in the market. We can track the smart big money guys, and they're saying, hey, we're planning for higher. Much like we saw right here, much like we saw right here, much like we're seeing right here. Long-term holders are stacking, and some people are worried. I don't get it. I don't get it. Then we got this chart right here, another similar chart to what we just saw, and that is this right here. Bitcoin inflows are below what they were in bear markets. The super bull market, just rippage to the upside is coming. Even with Bitcoin at $107,000, I would argue that we have the best risk reward ratio we've ever had on Bitcoin, because prior to January 20th of this year, when the new crypto positive administration, it doesn't matter if you like Trump or not, thinking about crypto and blockchain and Bitcoin specifically, crypto positive administration clearing the regulatory way forward and empowering regulation for Bitcoin, stablecoins, crypto, blockchain, digital assets to succeed. We just entered the risk-free zone in terms of, will this market get shut down by the world governments? We had to deal with that the entire way, the entire lifespan of crypto up until January 20th this year. We are literally in a not entirely new universe than we have ever been. And at this point, at $107,000, $108,000, we have the best risk reward opportunity ever, because that massive risk of it just being completely shut down is basically all but gone now. In addition to this, we're seeing not only the long-term holders stacking, we see an average Bitcoin inflows to Binance fall below bear market benchmarks. Bitcoin trades above 105. Monthly inflows have dropped to just 5,700 Bitcoin, a historically low level, even lower than those recorded during the last bear market. This is signaling people are not moving coins out of their wallet and preparing to sell on exchange. So the inflows are not signaling what you normally would see when people are preparing to sell, to take profits, or to exit the market. Beyond this chart, we've also got this one right here. The average volume of flows, inflow plus outflow, so all flows in and off exchange, on centralized exchanges has decreased to 40,000 Bitcoin per day. This is the lowest figure in the past 10 years. A significant portion of Bitcoin has left the platform, which is a sign of consolidation and potential liquidity shortage. I think the spring load is coming. And for those that are not stacked in before this thing pops, you are going to be beating yourself. You're going to be beating your head against a mirror, because it's not just, okay, the flows onto and off of exchange. Essentially, it's quiet time. There's nothing going on. It's almost like, ooh, something's about to pop. Well, what other kind of things are happening? There are still flows. So what flows are dominating? Well, according to this from Axel Adler Jr., the weekly net flow on centralized exchange remains negative. This is bullish, guys. Minus 4,300 Bitcoin, meaning the volume of withdrawn coins exceeds the volume of deposited coins, despite the overall decline in flows. So we've got a decline in flows, but the flows that are, even though there's fewer flows, it's still dominated right now by people moving their coins off of exchange into private holdings, AKA they're not looking to sell right now. At the same time, long-term holders are adding at this price level. Guys, gals, friends, countrymen, wherever you're at in the world, Bitcoin is global. On-chain data is available to everybody, and it's telling us the signs and signals are we are setting up for a massive move to the upside. And we're going to talk about that right now, because yes, we've got this, feels like a double top or a triple top. Okay, well, let's zoom in. We just looked at all the on-chain data that suggests strength is coming in. We look at this on the weekly. This is just a beautiful bull flag in a descending channel. We look at this at the 4-hour and we realize, oh, I mean, this doesn't look scary or bearish to me. We got the money flow trying to flip back positive right now. The RSI is broken out of this downtrend. The Bitcoin price is inching up towards the upper resistance line here. We have a known structure that we're watching. Strength is coming in. Money flow is, is positive, as we see here on the daily. The signs and signals are suggesting up from here. And at the same time, we want the price to go up. We talk about demand and liquidity and supply squeeze. Well, this is a chart that highlights that. Available supply. Okay. So what we're seeing here is right on this halving right here, things started to change, and really it started to really change right here in December 2022. So June 2022, right here. Why? Because you see this available supply, available liquidity that is being exchanged has been moving up this entire way. But because of the Bitcoin halvings, it reduced the new Bitcoin that are produced daily. It's reduced by half every 4 years. That's what these halvings mark, is a reduction of new supply, a reduction by half of Bitcoin inflation. Happens every 4 years. And now we're seeing this round out and actually starting to arc to the downside. So now we have exponential demand coming in from ETFs, from governments, from states, from sovereign bodies, from corporations, from institutions. At the same time, exponential demand is coming in. We're seeing a large and substantial and notable decline in available supply up from here. Man, I was holding in that cough the whole time. Sorry about that. But we got a couple more things. We got to look at some TA. Price came back, bounced up at basically right above the zone that we were highlighting here for 2 or 3 weeks on this breakout here, watching for a potential retest down to it. Great, it did it. We were prepared. That's why we prepare. Even when you're bullish, you look downside. We see the ETFs stacking. Look at this. Bitcoin, BlackRock scooped up 4,000 Bitcoin yesterday. ARC 21, 413. I guess these haven't loaded yet. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Come on. I see you. I see you. Go ahead and load that up. But it's not just ETFs. Check this out, guys. Everybody's wondering on every level, is there real demand for Bitcoin? Is it really is it just a fad? Look at these massive institutions, the top 25 largest institutional ETF holders. Jane Street, $2.2 billion. Millennium Management, $1.7 billion. Goldman Sachs, $1.7 billion. Susquehanna International, $1.5 billion. Citadel, 1.3 billion. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We're seeing massive stacking by institutions, and I think it's only going to go up from here. Yeah, they haven't uploaded these yet, so waiting for the results. Okay, but let's go ahead and highlight this. Let me look back over here. I want to take a peek at y'all's chats here, see if I skipped or missed any super chats or anything like that. I want to welcome any new members if they came in as well. Shout out to the whole crew here. By the way, I am Vicious Rav. I saw your comments on the other stream, Discover Crypto. I literally yesterday afternoon, I watched Two for the Money. I saw you posted that. I thought that was crazy. Maybe it was both on like the For You page or something on Netflix. I don't know, but what a great movie. Shout out to everybody here though. Okay, so we're on the 1 month. Let's get down to about the 3-day and see how things are shaping up. So remember, the 1 month, all the liquidity was above us. But if you zoom in, this is why you need to look at different time frames. Because remember, there are market cycles within market cycles. When we're looking at price action, now we look at the market cycle. Look, full market cycle here. This is a full market cycle here. But at the same time, if you zoom in on this, we can go to any period, 1 hour period. This is a full market cycle on the 1 hour period. Low to high, distribution top, breakdown back to low. Found a bottom, bulls push up, they find support. Now it's a bullish trend, reversal back down. So you have market cycles within market cycles. So although on the 1 month chart, we're seeing all the liquidities above us, great. Everybody's shorting. Let's go up there and scoop that liquidity. Well, you got to zoom in and be a little bit more granular, especially if you're in these charts on a daily basis, because when you look at this on the 3-day chart, there's a near-term area that we could wash out down into below 105,000, down here into the 103.5, down here into the 102.8. This realistically could happen, even though on that 1 month chart, it shows there's so much liquidity above us. Now we go to a little bit smaller time frame. Look on the 12-hour. Look at this. Came down, scooped the liquidity. Now there's more liquidity above us. But understanding these things based on the time frame you are trading will do you wonders to understand where the pressures and incentives are going to be for the market to move. Now, we'll come back over here. Bitcoin, we've talked a lot about, but what's going on with altcoins? Well, first off, the dominance is the star of the show right now. The dominance, let me go ahead and turn off these moving averages. The dominance, while it is starting to arc over a little bit, this has just been a persistent bastard pushing higher and higher and higher to the upside. In fact, this made new highs up here, but about 66%. Look at that, just pushing higher. However, this is looking weaker and weaker. The angles of attack here, if we look at this like this is looking, it's getting sort of rotating to the side. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to break down, but it's starting to give a little bit of a leading signal, like maybe something's happening here, because not only do you have that momentum starting to shift, if you come over here to the 3-day, you'll notice also, where was it at? Actually, daily, here we go. This is a higher high here on the dominance, and we have a lower high on the RSI. Now, I wouldn't trade your altcoins specifically on this signal. Use this as an extra ingredient to help giving a little bit of a leading edge. But you're seeing this lower high. You also see on the Chaikin money flow here, lower high, as the price action has pushed up at a very sloped angle. If this starts to sort of chop in here for a bit, great. That would actually be bullish for altcoins if this did start to show some weakness on upward movement. And then if it starts to break down, we're still watching this zone here in the 63 to 62% range. I'd actually move this over. We can go like this. We're looking at something like, move this, delete that. Yeah, if we want the alt season to really kick off, we need this bearish divergence on the Bitcoin dominance that we're seeing here on RSI, tracking money flow, and the price action. We need this to play out. We need this, whether it chops in here for a bit, we really need this to break down, come up, retest, and then fall through. This will be great for alts right in here, but it's this entire move that is where you're going to see a lot of movement, especially if this continues to the downside. But it's becoming increasingly less likely that we get this massive move like we've seen in these previous cycles because of such institutional, corporate, government, state level, pension fund, treasury, so much focus on Bitcoin. Now, I still think we're going to get a pretty damn good alt season, but there's a lot to be determined here based on how these flows happen. I think some people are counting out Ethereum. I think some people think that alt season's not going to happen. I think that's ridiculous because in every asset class, when you have an alpha and a beta, like you have Bitcoin being the top, people rotate profits into the beta plays out there, the other plays in the market. So when we look at Ethereum, this came right up into the zone that we talked about. We drew this as this was happening. And then price action, just like we drew, came down, tested the golden pocket here, pushed up. And on the other day, when this started breaking to the upside, this relief rally, potential relief rally, I talked about the level, key level right here with these lows. And I have not changed a thing on this chart. This Fibonacci retracement is all the exact same that we've had for some weeks now. The breakdown to golden pocket, expected bounce. Currently, there's no bullish or bearish signal on just this move right here. Everybody wants to say it's back, it's about to go. Well, we don't know yet. This has bounced up and found a little bit of trouble, lack of bullish follow through so far at this level. Now, what I will say is, what do you notice? Look at the money flow down here. Look at the RSI right here. The RSI has been trending to the downside. The money flow has, flipped negative, but currently it's trying to flip positive, which it has, but actually see follow through, not just this flip. This is the no signal. This is what just trap. We want to see this push up like we're seeing here with a little pullback and push up, pullback, just like you see on any bull trend. Currently, this is starting to give a bit of an indication that the bulls may have the advantage here, but we need to see how this plays out. The next other thing that we'll be watching is look at the RSI trending to the downside and currently rounding out right at this moving average, not even making it up to this. If this can break its way free of that and break free of this downtrend on the RSI, then I think we'll also be seeing money flow coming in. And that's when we're tacking back up here at $2,700. And then that continuation can happen, especially if we're able to break the $2,900 level. There was a couple other things. Oh, we got to look at Say, right? Because Say has been absolutely ripping. Again, how many of you guys out there bought Say before the rip? Yeah, just scrolling back in some of y'all's comments. I want to make sure I'm checking y'all's posts. We got 2,400 people tuned in here between YouTube, Rumble, and X. Shout out to each and every one of you. I do appreciate you. Make sure you're following this account, whatever you're watching it on. I know some of you found your way through X. Some of you found your way here through Rumble or YouTube. A lot of you watch on a daily basis and you're not even subscribed. Do me some love. Do me some favor. Make sure, look right down below the video, wherever you're on right now. If you're on YouTube or Rumble, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button. It really does help the engagement and everything that we do so we can do this and keep the lights on for you. It also tells the algorithm for these media platforms to push this out to more people. If you're watching on X, make sure you're going over and giving me a follow as well. It's at Kellam. You should just, if you're watching this like this, just click here, make sure you hit that follow. And it's also on the at Academy BitLab page. So shout out to the entire fam of everybody that is tuned in. Now, continuing on, what were we looking at? Say. All right. Okay, here's what we're seeing. We can delete these. Let's go ahead. Let's clear it out. Remove all drawings. Cool. So we saw the different moves that we saw previously. And was there any indication that this was going to pop? This is what you need to do every time you're looking at a chart, especially when you feel like you missed a move. I'm giving this to you all as homework. This is a secret that will render you so much better strategy and so many more profits than you would have otherwise. Are there any signals that I could have seen that would have indicated the move to the upside? Well, let's chart it real quick. We got the, basically nice impulse up, breakdown, follow through, impulse up, but it's actually lower high. Okay, well, this is starting to look like a falling wedge. So let's draw it out. We got the move there. Okay, we got the move here like this, falling channel, something like that. Cool. That doesn't give us much signal. So then what do we look at? Well, we got price action, large move. See the size of this move? And then the next move is larger. See that? Then the next move gets smaller again and smaller. So what do you notice about these? A move gets bigger. So that was a bearish momentum increase as the money flow flips negative. as the RSI is falling below the 50 line, the middle line here, and I'm on the 3-day chart. But then the momentum shrinks with a smaller move to the downside. And then again, about the same size, but a little bit smaller move to the downside yet again. So what you start to see here, this is a leading signal. You're seeing an increase in momentum and then the decrease in momentum, and it's sustained. It's still a slightly smaller decrease in momentum as well, meaning bearish momentum. So on this move to the downside, how does this relate to what we're seeing in the RSI? Well, the RSI came down swiftly, and then what do we see on the RSI? These lows. The RSI has been relatively flat. Let me make that a bit brighter so you can see it. The RSI was relatively flat while the price action came quite a bit lower. You see that? Quite a bit lower while this is relatively flat on the RSI. At the same moment, what do you see here? The money flow was going negative, and then it swung back in and went positive-ish, not a lot of follow-through, but positive-ish here. But we never got that increased momentum of money flow to the downside. So the bears aren't agreeing with it going that much lower because they're not taking money out of the asset. 1. 2, the strength is not getting weaker and weaker as the price has gotten weaker and weaker. So the bears are losing their bearish strength in the market. So if the bears are losing strength, that means the bulls are starting to gain possibility and gain strength. So that was your leading signal as this came into this. Then you see the RSI kind of breaks out of this, this sort of trend right here. Money flows positive, but not much signal. We got the move up. Oh, I missed the move. It's okay. You didn't really have much signal there. It's okay to miss a move sometime. Miss the move. Look for the retrace, reassess, especially when you see strength coming in, and take the shot. So now, because this pushed up to the zone and rejected at these previous highs and these previous lows, see this? On this zone right here, what do we see? Well, we had the bullish divergences that came in, the money flow that never agreed with it getting weaker because the money flow has been staying relatively in the asset. And then on this point right here, on this move up and this move down, now you've got something magical here because now you got a really kind of ugly, but inverted head and shoulders right in here, right? So this was the start potential forming in the zone, and then you see volume ticking in. So let's get on the smaller time frames and see if there were signals leading that move. So this was that move to the downside right here. So the move to the downside. So now you see the move to the downside with a very sharp angle of lows. What do you see on the RSI? Flat, 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 flat. So on the, for me, we've got the trend of the lows that gave us the RSI, the bullish divergence. But then we have this falling channel. So you don't just buy it right here. There was no reason to really buy it right here. You wait for the bulls to start to make an attempt. You see volume coming in. Something's changing here. And it got a little scary with the money flow coming out. So you might have wanted to go in, but I wouldn't have because the money flow is negative. But now the money flow is coming right back up. And right in this zone, you see this pushing up into this resistance level on the breakout here, and this does it again. Even if you missed it, it broke out, retest, launch, rise, retrace, continuation. And this is at the same time. I'm not sure if I should get in. The money flow is negative, right? Some people may say that. And then boom, comes down to retest, confirm the breakout of this move, and the money flow flips positive right here. Would have been a great opportunity there. And the RSI is now bounced at the 50 line. So you're firmly in the bullish side of the strength of this. So yeah, so a lot of stuff going on there that could have signaled that. Now we got some other things in the charts too I want to go over before we go. Where was it at? There was something here. Sui's coming right up kind of into this it's kind of ugly zone here. Rejection, 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 rejection. It's right at it, and it's a bull flag into it. Look at that. Bull flag into this. RSI's up. Money flow came down, came right back to zero. This looks like it's primed for a potential move. That doesn't mean go and buy because it's set up for a potential move. It means be on high alert. This looks like it may be taking a move soon. If it does drop from here, it's not the end of the world. It just means, oops, option F. Go up like that. And look at that. Came right down into the 382. If this drops, I'll be watching for an opportunity at 262. If this is able to hold, if this holds here and breaks out, again, you could be a little patient. You can wait for the breakout. Oh, I missed it. Retrace. Oh, opportunity. Do the signals align? The money flow, the RSI, the context? And if so, you start to see the reversal, then you take your entry right there and you get the confirm move and you get a risk mitigated entry on your asset. And then Avalanche still giving great opportunity here. Look at this, just ping-ponging down in this channel. Where did it come to? Into this bar here that we've had outlined, highlighted on the chart for months. All the way back here. Look at all the way. I mean, we didn't have it all the way back here, but we've had this drawn out for a lot of time. And this has come down almost fully reset. Money flow, look on the daily, looks like it's trying to tick back up. The RSI is not giving the signal yet. It's still in a downtrend. Now let's go down to the 4 hour. Okay. 4 hour, we kind of got a little bit of a move here, but it's not really, because if you adjust this RSI on the 4 hour, attempt to break out, but not quite. But look at the money flow. Came all the way back up here. I'd be watching this zone right here. If this is able to take out, very similar to what we were talking about with Sui, a potential, breakout, touch, launch. Because this, look at all this chop all in here. I expect that to be a little bit of a zone it might have some trouble at, which isn't bad. That means if you're expecting that and you get a little bit of a rejection there and it comes back and bounces on this high and this downtrend previous resistance, that's a confirming move. Then you get in right there and then you ride that up. But we're getting exciting news in the market. We're getting the on-chain data suggesting long-term holders are buying, short-term holders are they're not at risk anymore in terms of, this massive dumpage. We're seeing the miners conclude their sort of profit taking. We're seeing all the fundamental news just getting more and more bullish. Whatever happens here, even if we get a drawdown, I think is still a pretty darn good dip buying opportunity. Could we get a shakeout and lose 98 and come all the way down here into the 88s? Sure. That's why I still have this mapped on the chart. I just see this as highly unlikely with all the fundamental bullishness that's coming in. I'm okay if this happens. I'll be frustrated as hell because of engagement on media, but we should jump at the joy of opportunity if that happens. I'm very much in the cards of thinking something like this is going to be much more likely. If we get any drawdown, it'll be down into the 103s, 102s, and then a bounce from here, retest 109, and then, really do the work through the mega pump gateway, $110,000, $112,000, and then seeing that move to the upside. But guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to shoot you off over to the blockchain basement now. Go share some love. Let them know the BitLab fam is here. Show some love. I got you all set up for the redirect. But that's all I got for this one, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. Keep your head up. Look for opportunities. Buy the dip. Trade the rip. That's all we got. Adios, everybody. Have a wonderful day.